and he's just Bruce Willis, man. Like it's just, I found myself just standing there watching him like in between the setup one time. I'm like, dog, you're like sitting here with like this Bruce Willis over there, like, So and you just try not to fanboy out. And you just stay focused and get to work. But yeah, it was really cool.
How many secret selfies did you take? I imagine like a lot of them.
Just a two. I got two of them, man.
Hey everyone, this is David Stark from Watch or Pass. Today I'm talking to Wes Miller, the director of A Day to Die, a new Bruce Willis and Frank Grillo action movie that's coming to theaters and on demand on March 4th, 2022. We're going to talk to him right now. And while you're watching, if you can like and subscribe to this channel, that would be fantastic. Helps me out a lot. Thank you.
Hey, David.
Hey Wes, how's it going?
Good, my man. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing well. Can't complain.
Awesome.
All right. You ready to go?
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. I'm ready.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks for your time. So thank you for joining me. This is Wes Miller, the director of A Day to Die, which is coming to theaters and on demand on March 4th, 2022. It stars Bruce Willis and Frank Grillo. And I love that you had Bruce Willis as a bad guy because I feel like that doesn't happen very much with him. So I'd love to talk more about that. But, first question is, how'd you get involved in this project? Like, how'd you get, the script and what appealed to you about the script and this film?
Yeah, a friend of mine sent the script over, and it was pretty straight, straight laced A to B action film, and but I was looking for something action. I wanted to like really step into the action genre a little bit more, and so I saw some elements in it that I found universal, and so I just dug in, helped do a little rewrite, bringing in a couple of new characters. And then, yeah, we got it to a point where we were really happy with it. And, we began taking it out. First person that jumped on board with us was Frank Grillo. And, this is like right before the pandemic hit. And then because we were going to go like that year, but then, COVID happened, shut everything down. So yeah, just took a little bit more time, still reworked the script. And then, when things look better as far as like after COVID and, we picked it back up and started, working towards getting into production.
This is almost going to feel planned because my next question was going to be like, I know that you like to associate yourself and work on projects that have like societal impact issues. And I noticed that they were in the film, but I wasn't sure if that was something that was in the original script or something that you added. And it sounds like maybe it was a little bit of a collaboration after you got involved that you maybe added some more, I don't know, relevant or at least, culturally timely issues to the film.
Yeah, that was probably my biggest contribution. It's just, definitely adding that, adding the character of Pettis, which Leon, masterfully plays, and a few more. But yeah, it's just really important to me, man. I really feel like, cinema is like the church of the 21st century, especially when you can have that theatrical experience. But we all go to like be entertained. You buy your popcorn, you want to relax, kind of disappear into a world, and especially with all this craziness happening. But as artists and as filmmakers, we do want to like, hopefully you have something to say. And so, yeah, so just kind of infuse a little bit of myself and, hopefully, people enjoy it and get it.
Yeah, no, definitely. And, I love me a good popcorn flick, but it always nice when a movie has something else. Like you could just touch on other topics. It doesn't have to, preach or whatever, but you can at least inform and maybe add some layers to the overall movie. So,
yeah, agreed, man. And that's definitely what we were going for, man. There are a lot of movies that do preach, but cinema shouldn't be a place for preaching. But like, every character in life, we all go through certain things, and just sometimes seeing people go through something similar can actually boost your resolve. And filmmaking is my second career, and there were times when I was like in law school, I used to practice law, that I would watch The Verdict and The Rainmaker, those movies, like when law school was like hard, just kind of get that little extra motivation, be like, yeah, I want to do it. I can fight for the little guy. And so film just has that wonderful impact. And it was just after practicing law for a while, it's like, instead of really trying to convince jurors of certain things, it would be nice to just kind of, maybe touch people well before they come into the jury rooms, show a little bit of diversity, show that people are from different sides of the fence, can put their differences aside and come together, and just or whatever, a certain story may need, or those characters in a certain story may be going through.
Yeah, no, definitely. I like, it seems like there's like a spectrum, right? Like there are some just straight up turn your brain off, watch this film. There's somewhere in between, and then there are like the impactful preaching movies that they are good. Like it's good to have something that really digs in, but that each has a certain place in the spectrum, and depending on your mood, you might be into one or the other. So
yeah, agreed, man. Very well said.
And My Cousin Vinny, also a strangely accurate legal movie, which is also entertaining. So
that was another one of mine, man. Yeah, and it's so funny because in my law office, I used to have all movie. It was decorated with movie posters, man. Like
nice.
all the legal movies. So film has always been a part of my life, like a heavy part, man. And but I'm me, man. Come from Memphis, Tennessee, man. Did some civil rights, practice work. So that diversity, that's in me. I love bringing that to the screen just because that's kind of world we live in. And, so hopefully it lands.
I would love to hear the kind of transition from lawyer to filmmaker. Like, how did you kind of like start off in just doing kind of small projects on the weekend when you could, or were you just like, what, I'm all in, quick break, now I'm going to go pursue this other dream? How did that work?
Yeah, a little combination of both. So for me, what happened was I knew, like, emotionally, I just wasn't happy going to the office every day, and just even with the cases, I just didn't have that emotional drive. So I knew that wasn't the final calling for my life. And then when I just say the technology revolution happened, the DSLRs came out. With the Canon 5Ds, I saw one and I was like, oh, wow, that image is great. Then I got me a Canon T3i and started shooting, and, did a couple of shorts. And then I realized, hey, you know what? Yeah, it looks great, but you got to be able to tell a story. So really dug in and, started learning the craft of screenwriting. Once I felt like I was like, okay, like I actually have a little talent in this, but you got to dig in and work hard. About 2015, I was like, no, it's time. Like, I sold the practice and went full-time filmmaking, man, and just went in. And I gotta admit, man, it's like a very difficult transition because, you find your identity as I'm a lawyer. And then you go into this unknown void of, I want to be a filmmaker, or I believe I can be a filmmaker, but your identity is just like shattered. And you're just like, well, who am I really? So it was really, emotionally tough. But I was talking to a friend from college, and, honestly now, man, I'm probably as professionally happy now than I was. I haven't been this professionally satisfied since I was playing football back in college, man. And so it's really rewarding. I'm really thankful, man. I just must say, just thankful. And it's, it's a great opportunity, and not everybody gets it. And I'm working my butt off because I'm really appreciative of it.
Definitely. And that is a great analogy, because just like football, it can be exhilarating, it can be fun, but you're going to take a few knocks. Like sometimes, maybe you might wake up a little bit more in pain than you did the day before. So it's a good analogy to have.
Yep. Very true, man.
Awesome. Yeah. And like, that's such an inspiring story too. Because I think that like you kind of did what a lot of people did during COVID just 5 years earlier, right? A lot of people during COVID were like, I don't really want to do this anymore. Like now I can see a different career, or I can see other options. And a lot of people seem to be pursuing their passion. So it sounds like you were just ahead of your time.
Yeah, man. I was just like, look, you live once. And, I was like, no plan B. But, honestly, I did make sure like that I actually had some talent in it, something to develop. And it wasn't just like off of a lark. It was like, oh, I just want to go do this. I didn't do it irresponsibly. I have a kid. So I was thoughtful about it. But I knew, like, with the hard work, I really felt like there was a path forward. And I think this movie for me is probably the first one where I've been able to have like all the little lessons, from the previous films kind of collate and come together, and just like, really present themselves as a full piece of bodied work.
That's awesome. That's awesome to hear. And one thing that really impressed me about this film, and maybe it impressed you as well, is the cast. Like the cast is so good. Like Frank Grillo he just seems like a lot of fun to work with. Bruce Willis, getting him in the movie is a big draw. How did you kind of get them involved? You said Frank Grillo was kind of the first person that signed on. I know I love him. Like I love seeing his work. He's such a fun actor to watch. So how did you get him involved?
Yeah, he's a great dude, man. We worked together on a Western, and just kind of struck up a friendship, So And then, I told him what I was doing next, and my team sent it to his team. He was like, "I'm down, I'm in."
That's awesome.
And he stayed on board throughout the whole COVID up and downs and stuff. So that was cool. But he, yeah, he's just, like you say, he's intense, a great professional. And then, Bruce came through a couple of relationships, man. Just, I had friends who had worked with him on another project, and they were like, "Hey, I think, Bruce might be right, for this one." And wound up meeting with his team. And, they decided to entrust me, with working with them, which was like, going back to my little football analogy, man. But like, it's kind of like when Bruce comes in and Leon comes in and Frank comes in, it's kind of like, you wake up with a little bit more pep in your step. It's like the big game, the big conference, standoff between number one and number two.
Yep.
And, everybody brought their A game a little bit sharper, a little bit quicker. And, it's just really humbling, man. Just like sitting there, like, watching these legends work. And with Leon, man, like, with him and Pettis, I'm, almost at a loss for words, because like he really embodied that character and really brought a gravitas to that role, even beyond, what I had envisioned when I was writing it.
Awesome. And yeah, you're right. Like, you're the coach of this school, and you get these like 3 5-star recruits, and they're like, "Okay, now go win national championship." Like, oh god, like I'm excited, but dang, that is a big commitment. So
Yeah, and those guys, every one of them has more time on set than I do. Like, and it's just kind of like, wow, like you kind of have to pinch yourself and be like, they actually trusted me. And I've told a couple of them, like, I really didn't want to let you guys down on this one, man. Like, you guys like trusted me and brought your all. And I just really want to deliver a film that was, entertaining, but that really, at least executed the vision of the screenplay. And watching with a couple of audiences, man, I feel good about it.
awesome. And Leon's character was, he had some layers, right? Because he's I don't know, kind of a bad guy, but then also he seems to be doing a lot for his community. And I don't know, was that drawn from experiences you had growing up? Like, was there someone in your childhood that like watched out for you, even though maybe they were quote unquote like a bad guy, or maybe they got their means through some illicit ways? Like, how did that character come about, and did Leon build that character out after you kind of cast him?
Yeah, it's a combination of both. Yeah, man, when I was a little knucklehead, 13 and 14, man, I call them the old heads at the school, but like the old heads would definitely look out for me. And they would actually stop me from making certain mistakes that I had made before. And so, yeah, I definitely pulled from some of that in helping build out the character. But we did want somebody who's just not a cookie cutter, one dimension, quote unquote, bad guy, because oftentimes we do things that society may deem bad for noble reasons. And sometimes we do things, people deem good for selfish reasons. I felt like this character would do, he does things that are quote unquote, bad, but he has noble reasons for doing so. And then Leon also, when he came in, he really helped fill out the character. So, also like in tapping into the character's backstory, there's a line in there about like, his past as a child. That's something that came up on the day, as we're just kind of talking through the character and building out the scene. So it's a combination of both. And that's why, the actors that you choose are like hugely important, because they bring so much knowledge and because again, they're living with that character now. And us as a director at that point, you're living with all the characters. So you always want to have actors that are so dialed in that, every suggestion they bring is really bolstering the story and bolstering the character within the story.
Definitely. And then also, for someone like you who is, it's, this movie lets you kind of put your past lessons into action, but then you're also still learning. Like, you're still trying to siphon some experience off of these amazing actors. So it's great to have collaborators and actors that can everyone can kind of contribute to make the movie better.
Yeah, 100%, man. And like, when you stop learning, you're dead, man. So it's just kind of like, no ego. It's all like you learn, you just continue to grow, continue to learn, man, and just enjoy that ride.
Yeah. And I mentioned at the start, but like, I loved Bruce as a bad guy, because normally he plays a bad boy, right? Like a bad, like a good guy that does bad things. But in this one, he was the bad guy. it sounded like some people thought that he might be good for the role. It sounds like he was interested in that. Is that, did he just kind of like reach out and like want to be the villain, I guess, in this movie?
Well, yeah, no. So we basically contacted his team through a friend. And when he looked at the role, it was like, all right, this is something that he wants to do. And then, but Bruce is Bruce, man. So there's a lot of logistical hoops you got to go through to, bring him in. And so, no, it was really like, I felt like, with his persona and who he is, that gravitas that he brings would, and again, like you mentioned, he's normally a good guy, and you put him in a police chief role, you want to believe he's a good guy before the story, definitely unfolds and you really learn other things. And yeah, man. And so, yeah, we just really wanted to do justice with Bruce. We know he does, a lot of movies, today, not today, but, the past couple of years. And we just wanted something unique that'll definitely help him stand out, help our film stand out, not be just a quote unquote Bruce Willis movie, but be a really good movie that has Bruce Willis in it, where, he's actually, doing a really good job and working with all these other classic, actors and, great action. So that was kind of the goal and the hope.
It has been kind of like, I know he's been doing a lot of movies, but it is nice to have him. It almost seems like he wants to give back. I don't know if he wants to just like help smaller movie projects and just kind of like prop them up. I don't know what his like reason is, but it is nice to see him kind of explore all these other projects and be able to kind of like stretch himself as thin as he can, because he is definitely working a lot right now.
Yeah, he is. And here's, you got to remember, like, he's working a lot because people want to see him.
Yep.
If people weren't watching the movies, man, like he wouldn't be getting any work. And he's just Bruce Willis, man. Like, it's just, I found myself just standing there watching him, like in between the setup one time. I'm like, dog, you're like sitting here with like this Bruce Willis over there, like, so and you just try not to fanboy out. And you just stay focused and get to work. But yeah, it was really cool.
How many secret selfies did you take? I imagine like a lot of
just a two. I got two of them, man. It was like, between setups while, getting everything ready, I get one or two, man. But yeah, honestly, man, when I'm there, I'm just so focused on like trying to make the day, because, you don't have a lot of time. And, I just stay focused and just make sure we make our days, because, you never know when it'll be the last time you have that opportunity. So, I'm going to take advantage of it, as much as I can.
Yeah, no, especially with COVID, like you avoided. It seemed like you could have started early and then maybe had it shut down, but you avoided that. But then you never knew if you were going to get re-shut down. So definitely have to make the most of each day.
Yeah, and that was challenging. First few days, it was first time having to like use mask and everything, and but it was after the first couple of days, you get used to it and you just build it into the routine, and you're like, it just is what it is. It's just part of the grind of safety at that point. And thankfully, nobody caught COVID. Nobody got, we didn't have to shut down, because that would have been crazy. And yeah, man, we made it.
Yeah. Awesome. And last Bruce Willis question. I can't promise that, but I'll try to make it. Did his band perform for you? Because I've heard like his band is also just a sight to see when he gets up there and plays. His band. I guess he's Bruno in that mentality, but I was not sure if he had.
No, we didn't get the band treatment on this one, man.
Yeah, well, that's extra people that have to travel.
I know, right? Yeah.
And so you mentioned you were really trying to make your days. I imagine part of that was you had some pretty elaborate set pieces here. How did you kind of arrange that? Because there were, some big scenes with cars and like shootouts and things like that. How difficult was that to arrange in an indie context? I know that that's always a difficulty in any movie film.
Yeah, it was difficult, but we did a lot of pre-planning. And 90% of the effects in the movie, like the action set pieces, are all practical. So I really believe that like just having practical, effects on set just adds a visceral nature to like filming. And I'm just that filmmaker that I prefer to go practical and supplement with CGI. But it was really planning the shots, because, when you're rushed and you don't have tons of money, my thought is you just have to protect the frame, right? You have to protect whatever the camera sees and make that frame feel as big as possible. So a lot of the staging was done with multiple cameras to make sure that we had enough coverage. So if we're using 3 cameras, and you do 4 setups, now you got like, you got a lot of different angles that you're able to like pull from. And then 2, just making sure that, that on the schedule of the day, like you just don't waste time, and, you block it out and you block schedule your shooting. And then, you get it ready, you prep it, and then you just start shooting until you get everything. And then I must give a shout out to our armorers, man, because they were like amazing. Eric Petaway and his wife, Adrian, they are just like top tier. And, not that we took it for granted, because safety was paramount, but just the tragedy that happened on Rust after our shoot, just kind of heightens the awareness of how good our armorers actually were. And so that's another piece. And then the other piece of that, my stunt coordinator, Kieran, and my stunt guys, man, they were killer. Like they were just like on point. And you just like, seriously, man, it's just it takes a village, bro. And it's just like, we all had to be dialed in and execute. And we'd be running to the last second, but we'd end up getting it.
You got it done. Yeah. And also, yeah, shout out to your armors, because there was a lot of hardware in this film. I was kind of impressed when it kind of kept coming out. You kept having different variants of rifles and things like that. Like there was a lot of hardware here. So that's an amazing kind of job on their part.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, they're amazing, man. I worked with them on the Western the first time, and like, I'll be working with them on the next one. They're like my crew, and that's kind of how I roll, man. Like, kind of, just kind of feel like just a filmmaking family, man. And you find people you enjoy working with, and you just try to go make something really cool, and everybody's dialed in, and have fun making it, and hopefully come together and do it again.
Definitely. And I imagine that most of these stars, they've been around weapons for a while. Did any of them need like any practice work, or were they all just like, oh, hey, here's an MP5, lock it, stock it, and get ready to go? Like how was that?
Yeah, we offered some. I can't remember. I know a couple of cast members went. We offered some training, like before shooting, a couple of days before shooting. I can't remember who that was who actually took it up. It might have been Kevin and Leon. But don't hold me to that.
Call them out.
Yeah. But then like, no, our armorer was really good with like, training them up a little bit. So yeah, and Frank does it all the time. So, he was good. So yeah, man, like, so we offered a little bit if they felt like, they needed to feel comfortable. And then my armorer would work with them, step aside, take them, privately, and then like work the gun with them, show it, how it works and everything. And then when they're comfortable, bring them in, and we'd shoot.
Perfect. That's awesome. All right. So I know we have limited time, so I'm going to switch to, I call it the lightning round. They're just very lightweight questions about the film. I want to see how your experiences map to things that happen in the film. You can feel free not to answer any of them. I will not be offended, but I try to keep them very answerable.
Okay, cool.
First question. Did you get paid for good grades when you were young?
No.
Okay. I didn't either. It's always been it's always upset me, but also that was a cool scene. I like that scene.
Yeah, my mom would always be like, "I'm not going to pay you for doing what you're supposed to do." But there were cats in the neighborhood who would like, maybe not money, but like give candy to the kids who would like be cool, and other little things. But yeah, money. Yeah, I didn't get the money.
Yeah. You turned out okay, so I think it'll be fine. The Haitian soccer game, that was an interesting scene. Like, are you a soccer fan, or was Leon a soccer fan? Like that was kind of a surprise. Like, I'm a big soccer fan, so that was a big surprise for me.
Yeah, I am. I used to play soccer before I did play football, but back then soccer wasn't the cool sport. So I jumped into football. But it was more so for the character of Pettis, like, just when you're kind of creating him, you're just asking like, what is it he likes to do? Like really what makes him tick, and being a sports guy, I felt like sports would be the one thing he could like really relate to. And that really kept him connected to his home, in Haiti. And then it's a way for us to get information out about him without necessarily saying, hey, I'm from Haiti. You know what I mean? So yeah, I've always loved soccer, man. And so yeah, it's like, all right, this would be a good place for it.
The whole national team allegiance thing is such an interesting topic, because I mean it's easy for me because my family's from America for a while, but it's always like you never know who you're going to root for, and everyone always has like very personal reasons for which team they're pulling for. So it's always interesting to see that.
Yeah, absolutely, it's very true.
Yeah. Have you ever recorded a crime on your phone?
Have I recorded a crime? No, I don't believe so.
Okay. Have you ever, like, so there's a lot of gunfire in this movie. Have you ever like shot a gun, like any gun, or like an assault rifle like they were using this?
I've not shot an assault rifle. I have shot a 50 cal, and I have gone gun range shooting with a 40 cal. But no, I haven't had the opportunity to shoot like actually, I did shoot an automatic rifle once. I've shot an automatic rifle once, yeah.
All right, there we go. We'll keep it vague. And 50 cal, I mean, 50 cal kind of trumps everything. That is
Man,
an experience.
Boom, like your whole body just vibrates.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It was weird. Like when I shot one before too, and like it's weird because I didn't actually feel the kickback, but just the concussion, like from the round going off, is what.
That's
like,
it. And then I had somebody film it, and my body just kind of almost levitates a little bit, so it doesn't push you back, but like you said, concussion just like woo.
Yeah, I described it as like it feels like I got punched in the face, but no one punched me in the face. It's like a weird feeling.
Yep.
Have you ever been on like a private flight, like a private jet?
No, unfortunately, I have not yet. Hopefully one day.
Soon, yeah. I mean, it's just all takes its time, right? Keep making movies. Eventually, you'll be online. The last question is: so this film kind of revolves around a group of friends who come together to help someone in need. If you ever needed someone, would you have like a core group of friends who would come together, no questions asked, to help you out?
Yeah, man. I got friends from childhood. I have a couple of friends from college days, and I have a couple of friends from my law school days that like I feel like if I call them, be like, hey man, I need you. No questions asked, they be here.
Yeah, I like that. You got your childhood friends, you got the probably football players who can help like with the muscle, then you got the lawyers after to like clean everything up. It's a good mix.
Let's try to think about it like that. Yeah, but we got the muscle, we got the brains, we got the speed. Yeah, we'd get it done.
Perfect. So the film is out, I guess today, March 4th, in theaters and on demand. You're out promoting the film. You're trying to get the word out, but I imagine you probably have other projects. Do you have anything else lined up? Anything else you can talk about?
Yeah, we got a few. I think the next one but the next one that's up is called 3 Mile In, starring Kelly Rowland. It's a cool little film. It's like a heist film, like Reservoir Dogs meets Smoking Aces, so something really stylized but like contained, and still a lot of action and blowing stuff up, but like in a crime twisty setting.
Perfect. That sounds great.
Yeah, so, thanks, man.
Yeah, thanks so much for your time. And the film is A Day to Die. It's out today in theaters and on demand. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man, and thanks for checking it out, man, and thanks for having me on.
Of course. That was Wes Miller talking about A Day to Die, which is a new Bruce Willis and Frank Grillo action movie that's coming to theaters and on demand on March 4th, 2022. If you like this interview, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. Please check out my other content. I've got other reviews, unboxing videos, interviews, and recommendations. Thank you.